Hello, and thank you for joining me for today's practice. It is a beautiful and brisk morning here in the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, and I am coming to you this morning from my deck. My talented and hardworking husband has been building our deck, and it's getting there. It's almost complete, but it allows me the opportunity to share this video with you from the outdoors. And is it beautiful this morning? We got some beautiful sunshine, fresh air, cool temperatures. So I'm really happy to be out here with you today. And wherever you may be, I'm really grateful that you are choosing to take time for yourself to do some self care and that you're choosing to practice with me. So thank you for that. And today I'd like to share with you what's become kind of a morning ritual of mine. And I was introduced to this body tapping practice last year when I was taking some workshops in the Franklin method. And if you're interested in learning more about the Franklin method, I have a link below that you can check out their website. But just in a nutshell, it's an approach that helps us achieve our potential through movement, through imagery, and other types of physical and mental practices. So it's really right up my alley. It's totally aligned with yoga, of course. And what I've done is blended that with some other practices that I do, some healing touch, some conscious movement, and it's become sometimes it's a wonderful warm up to what I plan to do in my yoga practice. And then sometimes it becomes its own standalone practice if I don't have a lot of time. So this body tapping actually reminds me of a massage technique called tapotment. So it actually isn't all that new to me because it was something I learned 20 plus years ago in my massage training. But again, it's a wonderful way to um, awaken the body. We use tapotment in massage therapy to improve energy and circulation. And so I found this practice as a morning ritual, or really any time of the day when you need to awaken the body and enliven and energize, but also to just become more grounded and centered and more embodied. So I'm going to share that with you today, and I hope you find it just as enjoyable and as invigorating as I do every morning. So we're going to begin by coming into our space and just landing ourselves in a mountain pose, our heels under the hips, perhaps slightly wider. And initially, just take this time to arrive and to notice how we're feeling today, what's going on with the body today. So I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. And if closing your eyes for some reason doesn't feel comfortable, just find something to gaze at with a soft gaze. And as we tune inward, just notice how the body feels today. Notice your weight. Does it feel even through both legs? Notice how your weight is perhaps shifting from one foot to the other, or maybe shifting forward or backward. Or maybe you feel really grounded and steady already today. Just observing that, and then also observing the rest of the body, where you might be holding some tension, where you may be engaging perhaps unnecessarily. And let's just take a few big breaths in and out, maybe sighing out or sounding out on the exhale. Really letting that breath out. Complete exhale on the exhale. 2 more times. And maybe setting an intention before we begin, connecting with your sankalpa, your intention for the day or for this moment even. What is it that you are wanting, needing to experience or feel in your body right now? And once you've set that intention, go ahead and open your eyes if you had them closed, and we'll begin with our tapping. And I call this tapping love tapping because I find it's a great way not only to become aware of the body and awaken the body, but also appreciate the body. So we're going to begin right at the core and love tap the core. And you can use fingertips or you can use a gentle cupped hand and go in the direction of digestion from right to left in a circular motion. You can do the hands simultaneously or alternating, whatever feels good to you. But while you're engaging with the body in this gentle way, appreciating, thinking about how the digestive system works for us and appreciating this area of the body, the abdomen, the core. Oh, thank you, love you, thank you, love you. I like to just kind of throw those words of affirmation in there as I'm doing my love tapping. So once we do several times at the core, the abdominal region, then we're going to come up to the chest and just do circular movement around the lungs. Maybe taking a few deep breaths, appreciating the lungs, the heart center, just noticing how it feels to gently love tap this area of the body. Beautiful. And then we're going to get into the diaphragm. So I like bringing my fingertips right at the lower ribs and just going along the lower ribs to access the diaphragm. And again, you could do it to either side, or you might use both hands to one side and both hands to the other side. Explore what feels good to you, but keep it gentle, keep it kind. This is, again, love tapping. We're not trying to do any kind of deep tissue work on ourselves. Awesome. So from there, we're going to follow that around the lower ribs to the back. And we're going to do some love tapping around the lower ribs, the back side. And from there, we'll actually access the lower back. And now we can start using some fists, so maybe some loose fists or some knuckles, if that feels good, right along the spine, not on the spine, but right on either side of the spine. Then you might be able to apply a little more pressure here, so you can gauge your pressure to what feels good to you. However, again, we're not trying to create any kind of deep effect. So it is love tapping after all, awakening. And you can go further out on the lower back. And then I like to come around the sides and just kind of cup the hips, the hip joints, and that allows me to then go into my legs. So here I'm bending over. I don't have any props with me here. You could have blocks that you could put your foot up on a block here to raise the leg, or if you have a stool or a chair, you could just raise your leg onto that. Makes it a lot easier so you don't have to bend over. But since I don't have that, I'm just going to go ahead and bend over and tap my thighs. I'm doing one leg at a time. I like to do one leg at a time. You could certainly do both legs at the same time. So getting into the thighs. And then when I get to the knees, this is where I add some healing touch. And knee is a marma. Your knee joints are marma points. So it really feels good to just add some nice healing touch, some stroking, bringing awareness to the hands. And here again, we can appreciate the body. We can bring our intention in. We can use that intention, connect with it to affirm ourselves in this practice. And then after that, let's go down into the calf, tapping the calf. And you might even bring yourself onto the ground. Maybe that would make it easier to do this comfortably, because then we're going to go to the ankle and we're going to do some healing touch at the ankle. So yes, bringing awareness to your hands, to the healing we have in our hands as we appreciate the ankle. Yes. And then tapping the foot all the way down to the toes. Little love taps for the toes, awakening the toes, awakening the foot. Awesome. Okay, so then we're going to just brush it off. Brush it all off. Everything we've tapped. I sometimes think of the tapping as we go to the next or the other leg, I should say. I think of tapping like we're kind of working up the dust, or anything that's settled, anything that's stuck. The tapping, the love tapping is working it up, bringing it to the surface. And after we're done, we brush it all off. So the thighs, and then the knees, gentle, intentional touch. So we don't tap the joints. That's why we're doing the intentional healing touch around the joints. Ah, my beautiful knees. And even if your knees might be a little ouchy, or perhaps you have some issues, or you have to work with your knees a little more carefully, instead of thinking, oh, my knees, oh, they're stiff, oh, they're sore, oh, they don't bend the way they used to. Instead of thinking that, let's appreciate them. Let's give them some love. You'll be surprised at how much better they feel when we think kindly of them. So when we think kindly of ourselves, of our body parts, of our body in general, then the body actually responds. The physical body responds to that, and it will feel better, believe me. So that's the mind affecting the body. This is all mind-body work, right? The body affects the mind, and the mind affects the body. So it works both ways, and we can use that to our advantage. Loving the knees, or I'm sorry, loving the ankles. I'm on the ankle now. So giving the ankle some appreciation, loving touch, and then tapping the other foot all the way down to the toes, waking it up. Hello, foot. Good morning. Maybe it's good afternoon for you, or whenever you're doing it. And then we brush off everything we worked up. Let it go. Awesome. And then let's come back up to the glutes. And we can come back to fists because the glutes can handle a little more pressure. So you might be using your fists on your glutes. Oh, and that feels good. Often the glutes are tight, especially if you've been doing a lot of sitting. And we just tap around. Just be careful to not tap again on any bone or joint. So we're avoiding the sacrum. We're going along the muscular aspect of our gluteals. Beautiful. And after we're done with the glutes, let's just take a moment. Let's just pause for a second before we do the upper body. Close your eyes again if that feels good. And just observe the lower body. And notice how it feels, maybe comparing it to when you first checked in before we began. And hopefully you feel that increase of energy and circulation and stimulation and aliveness. Beautiful. So let's do the upper body. And we're going to come to the sternum and just gently tap the sternum with the fingertips. And then from there, we'll go to either side of the chest. Again, you might do both fingers or hands along one side and then the other side, or you could do simultaneously under the collarbones. Maybe using words like ease, relaxation, softening, release. If you're holding here, if you're holding things around your heart, openness. Beautiful. And then we're going to go down the sides of the body, and we're going to start with the neck. So I'm turning my head to the right to access my left side of my neck, and gently with the fingertips along the side of the neck, not the front, the side, from the ear all the way to the base of the neck, relaxing the head here. Beautiful. And then using the cup of my hand, I actually go right at the base of the neck and down to the shoulder. And this is where I add a little bit of conscious movement as well. So I do that a few times, and then I bring my hand right to the base of the neck, top of the shoulder, this area, the upper trapezius muscle here, which often is really tense or tight on people. Just let the weight of your hand sink. Relax the shoulder that you're of the arm that you're using to hold. So we're not shrugging. Relax that shoulder. Just let the weight of the hand sink into the muscle there. Take a moment, relax the other arm that's extended, maybe shake it out. And then bring your head back to center, and you can really feel that muscle under your hand, maybe softening a little bit since it's not stretched anymore. And give it a little squeeze. And imagine as you're squeezing all the tension out. And instead of thinking about how tight it is, think about softening, easing, releasing, and then let it go. And imagine that all this energy is rushing back to the muscle. We're filling the muscle with prana, kind of like thinking of it as a sponge. So if you squeeze the sponge, you're squeezing out whatever is stuck, whatever doesn't need to be there anymore. We're cleaning it out, squeezing it out. And then when you relax, the sponge soaks up the water if it was in water. And in our case, it's soaking up pranic energy, life force energy. So we'll do that one more time, just a gentle squeeze, imagining it. We're squeezing out tension, taking a big breath perhaps here. And then imagining ease and life force energy rushing to the muscle. So continuing to just hold the hand there for a couple more breaths. We're going to add a little conscious movement of the head, turning the ear. My right ear goes to my right shoulder, and then back to the other side. And just noticing how this feels to your shoulder there. My left shoulder is what I'm working on. And it's just gentle, but you'll feel the stretching and the movement in that area there. I'm kind of loosening the neck as well, working with releasing some of the fascial tension that also sometimes builds, or congestion that builds. Beautiful. So after a handful of times, come back to center, and we'll brush it off a little bit, and then we'll continue with the tapping. So tapping now the back of the arm down to the fingers and the hand, then the top, making sure you get all aspects of the arm and the hand. And then once I've done that, I take my hand to my head, and I'm going to go along the tricep, and then down back of the behind the armpit, and then down the rib cage, sides of the ribs. Big breaths, always taking those nice big breaths. Letting things go, brushing it out, affirming, maybe working with your intention, maybe working with appreciation. Thank you, arms. Oh, my arms, my hands, they do so much work for me. As a body worker, my hands and fingers do so much work for me. So appreciating the body as you shake it all out. And then, of course, let's do the other side. So tilting the head in the other direction, fingertips at the side of the neck. And then after some nice love tapping on the side of the neck, bringing your hands, cupping base of the neck to the shoulder. And again, you might be thinking, oh, my shoulder, it's so tight. I hold so much tension here. I know I certainly do. But catch yourself if you're thinking that, and instead shift that thought to one of ease. And even if you don't believe it because you don't feel it right away, still, again, we're going to work with that self-affirming, that positive thinking to initiate the response. And the physical body does respond to the mental thought. So ease. Oh, I love when my shoulders ease up. I love it when I do this work and I feel that ease. I feel the release, and I feel so empowered that I can create this change in my body. These are the types of things that we want to say as we do this work. So just letting the weight of my hand sink into that trapezius muscle, that shoulder, the top of the shoulder there, letting the arm be relaxed, letting the other arm also be relaxed, shake it out, and then bringing the head back to center and giving it that squeeze. Imagine everything leaving the body, all the tension, all the gook, all the congestion, and then relax and just imagine life force, energy, prana, surging, filling it up like a sponge soaking it up. And then squeeze again, and we'll do that 2 more times. And then release. And then again, squeeze. And release. And then just keep the hand comfortable there, weight settled downward. And we'll do that slow conscious movement of the neck. Just bringing a little neck release into it. Mindfully, just noticing what you notice. Breathing into any tension. And do that a handful of times. Beautiful. And then we'll continue with our tapping. Well, of course, first we can brush it off a little if you like, whatever we worked up. And then begin with the back of the arm all the way down. And the top. And the inside. All the way down to the fingertips. And then taking the hand to the head to get to the tricep. And then back of the shoulder behind the armpit. Down the side of the ribs. Side body, waking up that side body, which often gets neglected. And then brushing off everything we worked up, letting it go, shaking it out. All right, and then just taking a pause again. Maybe you close your eyes. Big breath. Notice what you feel through the upper body now, the arms. Perhaps connect with your intention, your sankalpa once again as you take one more big breath here. Wonderful. And then I like to kind of finish up this morning ritual with some nice conscious movement, some undulation. So I like to just shake. First, I shake my feet, my ankles, and my knee. Get some movement going. And then I do the other one. So again, everything we worked up, we're kind of shaking it out, keeping the joints loose, trying to keep those joints loose. And then a little undulation. So if you have some challenges with balance, you may want to be near a wall or have a chair here to do this where you might be able to hold on to something. So if you need to pause the video and do that, go right ahead. Otherwise, we're going to shift the weight to one leg. We're just going to do a little pendulum movement with the other leg. Just let it, like a pendulum, let it swing. And just let the hip be relaxed. Let the weight of the leg kind of cause the movement to be flowing, gaining momentum. I just do that a handful of times, several times. Taking big breaths. And then shifting over to the other leg. Starting off again, making sure you're nice and grounded and steady before you start doing the movement. Make it a slow, maybe not so big swing at first, and you can always add some more momentum and make it a little bigger if it feels good to you. Of course, every morning or every time you do this, you gauge what feels right in that moment. And then slowly bringing it back. And then similarly for the hands, checking out the fingers and the wrists. And then the elbows. And then the shoulders. You might do some rotations with the shoulders. But then I also like to swing the arms. Just let them be free. Swinging them forward and back. Breathing. Affirming ease, openness, energy, mobility, freedom. Yeah, and then we might do some side to side in front. And then we might just do an overall body shake. I love to do some shaking. I love my shaking. And you just get fun and creative with the shaking. Whatever's left over, any residue, it's all being shaken off. Letting it go. Shake those hips. Shake those legs. Shake the head. And then one breath in. And out. And again, just pausing here with eyes closed or with a soft gaze. and noticing what you created, what you shifted in your body. Feel your balance once again. Feel your weight, feel your energy, feel your sensations. Whatever it is you may be observing, observe it, notice it, appreciate it, enjoy it. And then if you had your eyes closed, you can open them when you're ready. And that's it. So I hope you feel as good as I do. Again, that's been kind of my ritual every day, to just wake up, enliven the body, awaken the body, to get the day going. But you can do it anytime. It's great if you're feeling a little sluggish during the day, to use it as a little pick-me-up. And again, not only do you feel more energized and alive, I think, but also we create more embodiment and more awareness of ourselves, more centering, more grounding, and again, appreciation of ourselves, which often we don't do enough of. So I hope you enjoyed this practice. Again, thank you so much for taking your time to do this for yourself, but also choosing to do it with me. So until next time, be well, enjoy. If you enjoyed this video and you're looking to do more, I invite you to join me in the live workshop. I have a Summer of Self-Care series going on, and I have 2 workshops left, one in July and one in August. And we'll be doing body tapping, love tapping of the body in these workshops, along with a bunch of other self-care practices, things like working with therapy balls and doing therapeutic poses, yoga poses, other forms of conscious movement, and also some deep relaxation with yoga nidra. So it'll be a comprehensive practice using a variety of different things to work with our self-care, self-healing. So if that sounds fun and interesting to you, I encourage you to go to my website. It's solunasolutions.com. I have a link down below in the description. And if you go to the join page, you can join me for my upcoming live workshops, the Summer of Self-Care series. The next one in July will be working and focusing on the arms, shoulders, and the neck. And in August, we'll be focusing on the legs and the feet. So I hope I may see you there live working with me, and we can share some more self-care together.